What's up everyone, it's your girl the sassy engineer, your fave Niger Kiwi, coming to you live from down under New Zealand. We'll be talking about the kind of jobs you can find in New Zealand as a student. I know the thumbnail says students, but note that it can apply to anyone who is looking for a job in New Zealand. And some of these jobs don't require a degree. Some of them will just require experience. Now, if you are seeing my face for the first time, you're welcome. Click the subscribe button to join the community and click the bell button to turn on notifications so that you will know when I post new content, okay? So you are in New Zealand and you're looking for a job, you are an international student or even domestic students. Trust me, domestic students also need jobs. And you are looking for a job. What kind of jobs can you do? Now I know that the thumbnail said jobs for students, but note that it doesn't only apply to students. You can get this job even if you're not a student. Let's say you are a partner to a student, you can also apply for this job. As a tertiary student in New Zealand, when school is in session, you can only work 20 hours. But when school is on break, you can work full-time. Again, this will depend on your visa conditions and if you are a part-time student or a full-time student. But if you are doing masters by research or a PhD, you don't have restrictions on your working hours, which means that you can work full-time any time of the year. But I think it will also depend on your supervisor or your funding. So if you have some fundings, there are some amount of hours you have to put into your PhD, which would have to be followed. So you may need to consult with your supervisor before you get a job outside your research. So that is something to note if you are a master's by research or a PhD student. Otherwise, there are no restrictions on working hours for you. So you can, if you want to kill yourself with 60 hours of work, you can do it. But you have to deliver on your PhD goals. Otherwise, you are going to be putting yourself in a very bad situation, because if you are asked to leave your PhD, that means your student visa will be revoked. So you have to go back. So when you are taking full-time jobs, try and balance it. Okay, so what kind of jobs can you get as a student? Now I'm going to start from the jobs you can get within the university, and then we'll gradually move out of jobs that don't have anything to do with the university. The first job you can get within the university as a graduate student is the graduate teaching assistant. So here you will help a lecturer or faculty member, whatever it's called in your university, with teaching. That means you could be supporting in the laboratory, which I think is called laboratory assistant or laboratory support. I can't remember. But you will support with laboratory aspect of the course. You would help in marking assignments. You would help in supervising tests and everything that is related to teaching. The other aspect is research assistant. And in this case, you are going to be supporting the lecturer with research projects, literature review, laboratory works that are required in that research and other related stuff. The university has many positions available where you can apply directly through the university, or you can approach the faculty member, that's the lecturer. It could be a senior lecturer, it could be a professor, it could be a professional teaching assistant. You ask them if they have positions available, and if they have these positions available, they can employ you and the university will pay you. For graduate teaching assistants, which we call GTA, you will need to be a graduate to get this role. So you need to either be studying masters or you need to be a PhD. Then for research assistant, you need to be good at research. I don't think it will matter if you are a graduate or not. It all depends on the lecturer. But they often always take graduates, because you have finished your undergraduate studies and you would have learned some basic skills with research, so you'll be able to provide the necessary support that they need. For graduate teaching assistants, from my experience, you don't necessarily have to limit yourself to your department. You can go to another department. So far as you have experience in that subject and you understand the subject, you can meet the lecturer and ask them, and if they have space available, they'll happily employ you. I mean, who doesn't want to take off all those workload from them? And graduate teaching assistant in more than median wage. But the thing is that their hours are usually small. So for instance, you could be earning $40 per hour, but you just have like 300 hours per year. So the trick here is, don't limit yourself to one subject. Try to get as many subjects as you can. And imagine if you have one subject has 200 hours that need your time. 200 times 3 subjects means 600 hours. So you're going to increase the number of hours. That's just the trick around it. But you have to make sure that you Don't forget that you are a master's student or a PhD student. You don't neglect your responsibilities to that course. And another thing you have to notice, if you are a PhD student, for instance, you are most likely going to be sponsored by your supervisor, and this would require you to give a certain amount of hours to your PhD. So you may have to speak with your supervisor and discuss on how you would manage your time. He or she may have to approve before you get a job outside your PhD, especially if they are paying you stipends for this. So have that in mind. Another job you can get within the university is tutoring. Tutoring is good in the sense that you can do it privately, or you can choose to work for a tutoring company. If you are good at a particular subject, let's say math, chemistry, and all that, you can apply to work as a tutor for school-age children, or even for your course mates. An undergraduate student can tutor, a master's student can tutor, even a PhD student can tutor. The popular website that I know that people use when I was studying was First Tutor, and on there you will just register to be a tutor, and then there are people who have registered to look for tutors, and they match with you and you agree on how you want to deliver your tutoring. Do you want to do it online? You want to go to their house? Do you want them to come to you? Depending on the arrangement, you can increase or decrease your price, but you should have a flat rate for the subject that you tutor. I've seen people charge up to $90 per hour for a subject, and this again depends on your level of expertise anyway and your experience as a tutor. The more experience you have as a tutor, the more reviews you get, the higher the chances of you increasing your fees, and people will pay. Especially if you're good at it, people will pay. So within the universities, there's also tutoring opportunities where you can apply to tutor a course, especially all those very complex courses where people don't understand. So after the lectures, they go for tutoring lessons where you take them through the course and break it down to bits that they can understand. This is something else you can do as a student. Another job you can apply for is a professional teaching fellow. Now, this one will need experience and qualification, because these are jobs that people within the university also apply for. So it's not just because you are studying PhD alone that will qualify. You need to have had some lecturing experience, some publications, and every other thing. So this is like, let's say, a lecturer coming from a different country and studying PhD in New Zealand. That lecturer can, if you polish your CV well and you have this experience and you're able to sell yourself, you can actually apply for professional teaching fellow within that your university, your department, and you will get the job. Another job you can apply for while you're a student within the university is resident advisor. As a resident advisor, you serve as a resource person. You provide support to students during their studies, living support. You are the go-to person for that your floor or the hall or that your flat. Whatever they need, you are able to provide. So that means you need to have some knowledge of campus services, who to go to or where to go to when they need some help. You also serve as an academic role model. You provide pastoral care to the students, provide residents with information. You ensure that rules and regulations are abided to. You're also like a receptionist that checks in students that come in after hours. You can help with students that lose their key cards and all those basic admin stuff. You do that after working hours when the actual receptionist and the accommodation staff have left. Basically, you represent the university and your aim is to provide positive residential experience to these students. So while you are a resident advisor, you are expected to develop a community within that your hall where students feel included and feel at home, and they know that whatever they need, they can get it. When I was living in the university accommodation, the resident advisors within my floor, they organized like a baking event just for us to get to know each other, because we were all in studio flats and it's very easy to get isolated. As a resident advisor, you also get some benefits. You get discounts for your accommodation. So you're not staying in the hall for free, but you get discounts. You get paid hourly as well, but this is going to be slightly above the minimum wage. Otherwise, you can work as an accommodation staff. So you work during the normal working hours, basically doing almost the same thing, if not similar to what resident advisors does. But in this case, it's mostly all those admin work that you'll be doing. Within the university, you can work for the examination unit, but you need to be a PhD student to get this job, because people who write exams are undergraduate students and master's students, that's masters by thought, would write exams. So if you are going to write exam within university, you're not going to get the job. PhD students don't generally write exams, so PhD students are qualified to apply to the exam unit to assist. So your roles will include supervising exams, helping distribute the examination materials to supervisors, and handling any request that comes from the exams, handling any malpractice issues. Well, not handling it yourself, relating malpractice issues to give to the right channel that your superiors that will take it up to the necessary channels. Now, those are some jobs within the university that you can apply for as a student. You can find all these jobs online in places like TradeMe. You can also find them on job boards. You can find them at your university notice boards. But make sure that you have the right working permit to work for them. As an international student, remember you can only work 20 hours when school is in session and full-time when school is not in session. You will need the required experience depending on the job to apply for them. And all the jobs I've listed will need you to apply with a CV and cover letter. I know it sounds bizarre, like, but yeah, you need to apply with a CV and cover letter for many of the jobs that I have listed. All right, so I wish you all the best, and I hope that this helps. Give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Until next time, bye.